I do think that winning in 94 and 95 and maybe 97 set the ball rolling for what the lads have achieved now. Because hurling completely and utterly took over underage and everything else. I mean, I was working with Brendan O'Connor and Tom Whelan, and we won under 12, 14, we won a national Féile. Them lads won juvenile premier, minor premier, under 21 premier. I think there was 7 of them in a county minor panel off that age group. The team before Mick Jacob, we say young Michael and Rory and Keith and Paul Roach and Desi and all them lads, there must have been 5 or 6 on county minors. But I think the 94 and possibly the 95 and 97 was the foundation for all them teams coming through.
We had been beaten in the county final in '89 by Buffers Alley. Went to a replay, beaten after extra time. Fantastic game. Got beaten then in the county final again by Buffers Alley in '92, and we beat Buffers Alley in '93 to get back into the championship, and then they knocked us out in the quarter final, I think it was. Being
so close maybe for 5 or 6 years, Brendan O'Connor approached sort of me and Liam Dunne and said we're going to go for an outside man at the time, which was all new, like that was really new stuff. And so we went up anyway to meet him in Cardo. I think we went to the Seven Oaks, and I think the first night we had a good chat, but I think we had a good lot of drink as well, and we had to go back a second time to cajole him into it, and maybe even a third time, because I suppose he was after coming from the Martins of Muckalee after winning an All-Ireland club title, coming to a team that hadn't won a senior county title, if you know what I mean. He was stepping back down a bit, in fairness. So I mean, it was a big get for us.
Well, not many people knew at the time that St Martin's were after Tom as well, but luckily enough, he chose Oulart, and then he had Jimmy Pendergast, Mick Jacob and Willie Sunderland came in as 3 really good Oulart-The Ballagh men that came in behind him as well, and I think Tom just changed the whole dressing room. He changed the whole culture of everything that was happening around the club.
Tom was a quiet man, but he was absolutely ruthless, you know what I mean. It was Tom's way or the highway, basically. Yeah.
He was a trainer, he was a manager, he was a psychologist. He just was a living legend really, and fellas bought into what he wanted. He picked Tomas as captain of the team, and he led the team brilliantly the whole year. Martin was captain 95 and followed suit as well, which was fantastic. But Tom just got everybody in the dressing room working for one another. And if you were on the team or you weren't on the team, it was all about the team. It was the word "me" went out of it. It was all about the team. We trained hard. We're up in the new pitch here. I remember coming up here one night, and there was, I think, someone put up one light for it to shine in on us there, and it's just heavy stuff but
after lap after lap after lap, and we were thinking, geez, well, this lap will never stop. But I'd say for about 3 months he trained us into the ground, in the sense of he probably broke us that he's going to do exactly what I want when I want. And he did it in a nice way, in the sense of it was just running maybe 30-minute runs, 10 laps or 12 laps or 15 laps, and so nobody opened their mouth like he was new. So if that was one of your own, to be out whinging and backbiting, and there was none of it. Absolutely none of it with Tom. And the fact that he was in Carlow, he wasn't around that you could corner him in a pub, or you couldn't get close to him because you only saw him 2 nights a week and the match day. And that was it, and he kept that distance very well, and he kept it for about 7 or 8 years.
At the time, you had 2 Dempseys, 2 Stamps, 2 Rossiters, 3 Redmonds, 3 Dunns. There was a real family affair then as well, but that's what it was, and Sean Moore and Brendan O'Connor from the Oulart stock, were there. All Rocker was hanging on their corner back, doing a fantastic job as well. So, but as I say, it was all about the team.
We would have had probably discipline problems over the years. We would have, there would have been a lot of sort of fighting maybe and stuff. We got rid of all that. I mean, he brought great discipline to us, and I mean, Garda Brendan Moore was only after coming as well, and he made him the discipline officer in the club, and Brendan had a bit of a reputation, so we were all sort of afraid to even cross the line on it, I know that's stupid, but all them little things added up, and
outside of the team as well, I mean, Catching Dunhenley was the chairperson. You know, Breda Flood, the secretary. You know, we had Tommy Woods and Tommy Cowan were the physios on the team. Brendan Flood was the kit man at that time, even though I don't think there was such a thing as a kit man, but Brendan was there as a kit man, and you know, we'd good people involved with us as well that did an awful lot of work.
Everybody got a job from Tom. There was no heroes, there was no stars, there was no, like myself, Liam and Tomas would say we're hurling with the county team at the time. But our job was the same as everybody else's job. You got your job to do. If you didn't do it, Tom moved you once, he didn't move you twice, you were moved to the sideline on the second. So you got 2 chances and you were moved to the sideline. And I mean, he probably was the first man that introduced what I would call now a game plan, but at the time it wasn't. But he played specific ways. Like, I mean, he played me in a county final in 90, or corner forward in a county final in 95 after being hurling centre forward, wing forward, maybe midfield for the whole year. And I was thinking, geez, I'm being demoted here. But no, he had a plan for it. Like, and I mean, as it turned out afterwards, I was the captain in 95, and as it turned out, like, I scored 5 points and I think I got 6 frees. Tom just said, job done.
When you look back on the team, the 94 team that won, you know, I think there was 7 or 8 guys that had played that had won a district junior 2 years previous. You know, there was a level for those fellas to come up to as well, and they did. You know, it was never going to be the 3 county players that were going to make the difference, and it wasn't. It was actually the other guys that you know, that stood up to the mantle. That's something that I would look back on greatly, like from the 94 team. Like, you know, when, like as I said, young Johnny Migan there, you know, John Stamp, you know, John Cleary, you know, the Redmonds, you know, the Rossiters, you know, the Stamps, you know, just was the whole group of different guys. And Tom changed the mentality really of us coming together as a group, as a one really, you know. And we mightn't have been the greatest team, you know, in the world, but we were a hard team to beat. And there was great fighting spirit, and the spirit built over the time. And
well, we were actually very lucky, I suppose, to be in the county final in 94, because, I mean, with 10 minutes to go in the semi-final, we were in trouble.
Johnny Migan, 17 years of age, scored a goal there that brought us back into the game. You know, Martin scored some fantastic points. I think a sport would say he probably scored one of the goals of the year that year, but I think he lobbed the keeper, I think it was, at that stage. So,
I mean, getting ready for the 94 county final was different in the sense of the word losing was never mentioned, or how many we'd lost before. And I think we'd lost 6 or 7 previous to that, and it was never ever, it was a bit like 96 with Liam Griffin. Never, losing was never an option. It was never actually mentioned in a dressing room, in the club, up training, never anywhere. And I mean, and I don't know how it didn't, considering that we hadn't won one. I was gone 30 years of age in 94, like, and you were hurling with the seniors. You were involved since you were 17 in the panel. Now, you weren't on the team from that length. Like, I mean, Tomas Dunne was 32, our captain. Like, do you know what I mean? We were starting to get long in the tooth a bit, and you were thinking, will we ever get the chance of winning one? So the Martins were new to it, and we were new enough to it. So it was an odd couple with no, we say, Buffers Alley or Ratton, you were in it too. So it was sort of a great, and I suppose maybe both teams were nervous a bit, because, and the Martins had their chance to beat us, but we never felt like we were going to lose. You know, you mean, you just worked to what you were told to do, and everybody worked really, really hard on it. And I mean, thank God we got through it. And if we hadn't have, I don't think I would have won as many county finals since, because Tom Neville mightn't have stayed around, and you never know what would happen. Like, and I mean, what has happened since has been unbelievable since 94. No, I actually don't remember the parade. Funny enough, you were focused. You were actually, Tom had talked about, like, that the parade, there's no point in looking good in the parade. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, he was very, very astute in that sense. There's no point in getting excited in the parade. There's no point in that. You just can't hurl until the ball is thrown in. Like, very much sort of Liam Griffin style stuff. That. Now, what can I remember? I remember Willie Murphy's son, I can't remember his first name, hit me after about 40 seconds. He shook every bone in my body. And I kept, Philip Murphy, I think, shook every bone in my body. That's the standout thing. I remember scoring a couple of points. Remember throwing around a few balls. I know you'd little bits and pieces that come back to you. We scored a soft goal at Martin Redmond.
Possession, Martin lobs it in, Terry down, is it a goal? A goal there. Oh, that goal conceded by Terry O'Dowd, and this puts Oulart right back into the game.
I was going to take a free, and next minute Tomas, as usual, came running looking for a quick pass. And I turned around and I started saying to myself, what is he at? And then I said to myself, here, I'll just have a go at this. And was just about getting the ball down the other end of the field, really. I didn't think it was going to go over the bar, but look, I think it was Terry O'Dowd who was in the goal for the Martins, and he gave it a helping hand going over the bar as well. But, you know, St. Martin's got 2 opportunities after that then to draw the game as well.
And I remember thinking like, here we fucking go again. This is going to be a draw, and we don't do replays. And you were thinking, and all of a sudden, the whistle went, it was over. And it was just unbelievable. Like, I remember the first night the night of the county, you didn't get like scut or drunk or anything. There was so much excitement that you'd actually won it that we just couldn't believe. You were still sort of in awe of it. Even the next day, like you were still, your heart was racing that finally we're county champions. Like.
I remember shaking hands with George O'Connor afterwards, and we sort of had a moment to ourselves there. And I was soldiering with George at the time, and he just said, look at Liam, he said, it had to be one of us today, you know. And luckily enough, it wasn't me at that time, you know. And you know, I was lucky enough to go on to win 6 Senior Hurling Championship medals. You know, George retired after the All-Ireland in '96, and you know, wasn't around when Martins won their first championship in '99. So
the excitement on the field after it, and you just saw what it meant to the parish of Oulart-The Ballagh, the 2 half parishes. Like, it was sort of, for a club that was a hurling club, you're not really a hurling club until you have your county top final, like, you know. But up until that, all you were looking at was Buffers Alley, Ratnure, the Harriers, the Rapparees, everyone else, but we didn't have one. That sort of gave you the chance to get on level ground, and then we caught up fairly quick then. But that was it. I mean, the first one, no, nothing will ever compare to it.
You wonder where the years have gone, and we've played 17 finals, we've won 13, you know, lost 4. You'd still remember the ones you've lost a little bit, maybe more than the ones you've won as well.
Tom's main thing was, like, you can't show potential for 5 or 6 years. You can show it for 1, then you have to deliver it your second year. And he was right, like, you know what I mean? It's about delivering the job. It's not about maybe ifs and buts. He took all them little old things out of the game first, you know. There were definites. We got rid of the maybes.